All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Blessings and honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone. And Shalom to you, brothers that's out there teaching the truth and sincerity, the hopeful elect. This is in response to Apostle Charles' video, The Spirit of Hellenism is on Israel to this day. Because when you go back into the history, Jake was doing the Olympics during the time of the Roman Empire, okay? Because the Olympics stems back to Greece, okay? And you had Paul reference certain things of the Olympics and of the gymnos because you had Jake back then, just like you got Jake today, that's into the traditions of Greece, whether they be bodybuilders, whether they be marathon runners, whether they be strong men, whether they be boxers, gladiators. All right, there's no new thing under the sun. So I'm gonna get a couple of scriptures to show you that Paul became all things to all men. So in order to get the Israelites that was into the gymnos, that was into the Olympics, he had to use references and quotes and filter it through the scriptures. All right. And I'm going to say this. Once these Israelites that was into this Olympic, that was into the Olympics, that was into the gymnos, they forsake those things and they followed after Yahweh Shai. They was born again. They wasn't continuing being Greeks. They wasn't continuing performing in the Olympics because they forsaken, which was the old man, and was born again in Yahushua. So let's get it. 1 Corinthians 9:24. Know ye not that they which run in a race run all, but one receiveth the prize? Just like you see with Usain Bolt or, the marathon runners. There's a bunch of people running the race, but only one receiveth the prize. All right? Only one person received the gold, but it says, so run that ye may obtain. So he's telling the church that they should run, that they should obtain. All right? Which is the election, being part of the election, receiving salvation. So it says, read it on, and every man that striveth for the mastery, every man that striveth for that gold, okay, everyone that works out, trains, they do what they got to take so they can get that gold medal or receive that one prize, is temperate in all things, okay? They go through strict diets, they go through harsh trainings, 24/7 trainings, they don't hardly take no breaks. They stop eating certain meats and foods, they go on strict diets, they start associating themselves with certain people because they get that tunnel vision to get that gold medal, to get that prize. Now it says, read it on. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown. So all that bodybuilding, racing, gymnastics, um, marathon running, pole throwing, uh, the running with the hopping, I forgot the name of that, but all them different obstacles in the Olympics is for a corruptible crown, meaning it's a temporal crown. And you got certain Jake that does it, that's just strictly for vainglory. Okay? They want the glory, they want to be seen amongst men as being the greatest or the baddest athlete or the baddest bodybuilder that's ever been. or they just all into themselves. But Paul says, but we are incorruptible. So he was telling the Jake that was all into the Olympics, that was all into the gymnos, like, y'all doing it for a corruptible crown. Y'all doing it for vainglory. Y'all doing it to receive a gold medal or that trophy. But we do it for incorruptible crown. The race that we running, which is the race of the labor of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, is for incorruptible crown, because we're going to receive everlasting life in the kingdom of heaven. We're going to be in positions of authority in the kingdom of heaven. And it's going to be unbreakable, unmovable, untakeable. Okay? I therefore so run, not as uncertainly, okay? So fight I, not as one that beateth the air. So Paul says he's assured in what he's doing, you know. Because he's given diligence to make his calling of election sure, he's not doing it as uncertainly, because he knows if you do right in the sight of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, Yahweh Shem Yahushua will do right unto you. He rewardeth his servants the prophets. Okay? So as I therefore so run, not as uncertainly, because y'all don't know if you're going to receive that prize or not. But we know if we forsake our lives and follow after the Lord, we're going to receive that prize. So fight I, not as one that beateth the air, not as one that shadow box. So it says, but I keep under my body, meaning he keeps himself humble. He keeps himself on that strict, he says, but I keep under my body, meaning he keeps himself disciplined and humble. Okay, he keeps himself under the tutelage of Yahweh Shem Yahushua and doing this work, and bring it into subjection, lest by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway. So if he doesn't continue on walking that straight gate, or continue on um serving the Lord with fear and trembling, he himself will become a castaway. Okay? This is 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 5. And if a man also strive for the masteries, meaning striving for the perfection, striving for that goal, striving for that trophy, yet is he not crowned, except he strive lawfully. So it says, if a man also strive for the masteries, yet is he not crowned, unless he strive lawfully, which is according to the law, according to the rules. Okay? You can't do whatever you want to do. You got to stay on the straight and narrow path. You got to fear the Most High and keep his commandments. You got to do what is required of the elect to do. Okay? This is Philippians chapter 3, verse 14. I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of the Most High in Yahushua. So these are more references, Olympic references, or gymnos references. Okay? He said, I press towards the mark, meaning I race towards the mark. What's the mark? The kingdom of heaven. Make ye a calling of election sure. It says, I press towards the mark for the prize of the high calling of the Most High in Yahushua. So Paul raced towards the prize, which is the kingdom of heaven, which is salvation, to make the calling of the Most High in Yahushua. Let us therefore, as many be perfect, be thus minded, and if anything ye be otherwise minded, the Most High shall reveal even this unto you. It says, nevertheless, whereto we have already obtained the calling, let us walk by the same rule, let us mind the same things. So we're supposed to keep in mind the same thing, which is salvation in the kingdom of heaven. You got to have tunnel vision towards the kingdom of heaven, towards that promise, towards making a calling of election sure. But that was it. I wanted to show you the certain quotes and references Paul made towards the Olympics and towards the gymnos, and showing you that Jake back then was into it just like Jake today is into it. And the elect are going to come from all walks of life. You're going to have some of the elect that was into the gymnos, that was into the Olympics, but they're going to forsake those things and follow after Yahushua. With that, hope you brothers was edified. Till next time, I say shalom.